After a 1-1 split to start the 2024-25 campaign, the Washington and Lee men's basketball team returns to Lexington as it tips off its home slate against regional rival Mary Baldwin. We say hello and welcome inside Holekamp Gymnasium, part of the Richard Duchess SWAT Athletic and Recreation Center here on the campus of Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia. Thanks so much for joining us on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Alongside Shane Riley, I'm Ryan Connell. And Shane, our matchup tonight features Mary Baldwin and Washington and Lee. The two teams have made it a habit of starting to play each other the last couple of years. The Generals got the better of the Fighting Squirrels last year in Stanton, and now Mary Baldwin gets a chance to come back to Lexington for the first time in a couple of years.
Yeah, as you said, Ryan, both teams off to a 1-1 start to the season, still kind of figuring out their lineups, figuring out who they want to plug in and play for them this season. You take a look at both teams, Mary Baldwin with a new head coach, so starting to build some continuity, trying to figure out what they can do with their basketball squad. You take a look at some of their best players. Jaden Ignacio had a 40-point game, first game of the season, starting off his season strong. And take a look at the Generals side. A lot of first years coming into their roster, so a similar situation with Mary Baldwin. Just a lot of new faces around, trying to figure out who can play for them. Both teams really like to move the ball fast, so we should be in for a high-scoring matchup today.
Mary Baldwin last season went 17-11, won the USA South Conference Tournament, which means they got an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. They lost to Case Western in the first round, but it was just their third full season as a Division III program. Won their conference, got into the NCAA tournament. A very good turnaround under former head coach Matt Griggs, who helped really start that program from the ground up. He moves on to Lake Forest College out in Illinois. So in steps the new head coach, which is Daniel Eco, his first season as the head coach for Mary Baldwin. He spent the last 3 years as a head coach at Millersville, a D3 school in Pennsylvania. But he is no stranger to things here in Virginia, specifically the ODAC, played at Roanoke and graduated from Roanoke College in 2015.
Yeah, because of that, he's very familiar with W&L. Obviously, they'll both play each other every single season. New head coach, things always can start a little shaky. I mean, they got off to the 1-1 start. It's pretty solid. They scored 85 points in their first game, ended up getting the W against Wilson, as you said, and then ended up taking the loss against Maritime, 69-point game, so a little inconsistency with how much they're scoring. When you take a look at some of their stats, they do foul a lot, giving up a lot of free throws. But as I said before, they like to play with a lot of plays, get out and run, try to beat their team on the fast break, get a lot of threes up. So it'll be exciting for Mary Baldwin and trying to figure out with their new head coach what they can do.
They return two of their All-USA South performers from last year in Jaden Ignacio and Quentin Hart. Washington and Lee loses its three All-ODAC performers from last year, Robert DeCibio, Jack Dontremont, and Drew Harrell. Those three combined for over 67% of the scoring last season, almost 60% of the rebounding, and over 48% of the total minutes played by Washington and Lee a year ago. Three people, and all of them no longer with the Generals.
Yeah, when we say there's a lot of new faces around here at W&L, that statement definitely rings true. Quite a few first years, and a couple of them in the starting lineup today, but they're already making a pretty big impact. When you look at Connor Amorosi, 25 points in his last game, not starting this one in favor of Connor Robertson, but the first year is making a big impact, and they're getting the chance to do so. And a lot of the faces that were on the team last year, getting a chance to step in and fill in for some of those minutes and try to fill in the gap that those three great players left for W&L.
Yeah, Washington and Lee, of the 16 players it has on its roster, 11 of them are underclassmen, meaning first years or sophomores. So when you talk about inexperience, that's a lot with the group that eighth-year head coach Chris McHugh has. Last year, he led Washington and Lee to the ODAC championship game, their first ODAC championship title game appearance in 15 years when he was a senior on the Generals men's basketball team back in 2009. He has a new assistant coach helping him out on the sidelines this year. Isaac Hibbard comes from spending the last 2 years as a GA at Purdue Fort Wayne. He had a playing career at Hanover at the D3 level in the Midwest. So a new face to the sideline for the Generals, as well as Drew Harrell, who graduated last year being a volunteer assistant coach. Probably Hibbard and Harrell trying to give a little bit more of that past playing experience and trying to be able to pass that on to some of the new players that the Generals have on their roster this season.
Yeah, and all these new faces for W&L can be a little scary trying to adjust to things and get used to playing with this squad, but it also brings a lot of hope for the years to come and for the development that they'll have this season. As the season goes on, they're only going to gel more and more and start to figure things out, and it's exciting for W&L. Looking forward to the future because, as I said, a lot of first years and just a lot of room to build a good roster.
Yeah, just two seniors on the roster this year, Sam Larson and Thomas Fagan for the Generals. So going to be a lot of on the shoulders of some of those other players to step up this season. One other player that's had a very solid start to the year, including a career-high 21 points in the season-opening loss to Wilkes, is junior guard John Laughlin. He's averaging over 16 points per game this year, 7 boards per game, and he's 7 of 10 from long range to start the year. We knew the last couple of years Laughlin has been a good shooter for the Generals. Last year in the starting lineup, his first season really coming off the bench, but in the first couple of games of the year, named to the all-tournament team at the Bear Bash tip-off tournament last weekend up in Pennsylvania, and having a solid start to the year.
Yeah, he's a great sharpshooter for this W&L team. Can get out on the break. Not the best at getting to the cup, but it doesn't really have to with his ability to shoot the ball. The Generals are going to look to get him involved a lot today, out on those fast breaks, sitting in the corner, trying to get those three-point looks and trying to get a lot of points up on the board for W&L.
Another player that it returns to the starting lineup for the Generals. Their other starter from last season, Colin Ryan, the 6'4 junior from Richmond, was predominantly the Generals' point guard last year. This year, he's their main front court presence at 6'4" and one of the tallest players on their roster. He's the leading rebounder for Washington Lee at over 9.5 boards per game, and he's averaging over 10.5 points per game. So really a double-double threat this year for a guy who's taking on a different role than he's had in years past.
Well, you got to think that him playing point guard last year can help him a lot in that new sort of big man role. It can give him some good ball handling skills and perhaps a threat in that big man slot that W&L has not been used to in these last few seasons, but it also speaks to the fact that W&L does not have a lot of size. They like to play small, like to play fast, which means there's going to be a lot of points and perhaps not a lot of defense out there on the court in this one.
So both teams making their way back out onto the floor here inside of Holekamp Gym. Just still a few minutes from getting underway here this evening. It's the home opener for Washington and Lee men's basketball as they played 2 games on the road to start the new season. They lost to Wilkes on Friday night, 63-50, but followed it up with a win over Immaculata, 75-64 on Saturday. The Generals will play here tonight and have then a full week off before they kick off conference play against Roanoke next Wednesday. So it's a little bit of a slower start to the year in terms of games played, but an awkward kind of time of year with the holidays starting to come up and pop into the picture as well. The Generals will play just 2 games before their holiday tournament between Christmas and New Year's here at home, and that's it for the year 2024. Most of their games being on the road to start the season.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting schedule for the Generals to have, but it gives them a lot of time in practice to look at what they've done during these games, scout ahead, try to figure out what their best roster is moving forward as they get into the, as you said, next season, a lot more games and a lot more games on their schedule, much more tightly packed schedule in the new year, and it'll give them a chance to settle things down, figure out what they've done, figure out what they like after the start of the year, and then move forward going into the next year.
Washington Lee and Mary Baldwin still a few minutes from getting underway here inside a Holekamp Gym. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Both teams looking for their second win of the season. Mary Baldwin had a quick turnaround. They played last night in an exhibition game against James Madison University up in Harrisonburg. And the Fighting Squirrels got just about everybody in last night. No one played more than really 17 minutes or so. So despite even having a game just last night, that doesn't count to their overall record. Still maybe not the freshest of legs here tonight.
Yeah, and JMU, obviously a D1 school, made the NCAA tournament last season. But it's definitely a good experience for Mary Baldwin to face some tougher competition, get all their players in, get some playing time, let everybody get some moments. And their starting lineup, yeah, they might be a little bit tired, but they didn't play a full game, so they probably should be good to go. Have some fresh legs out there tonight.
Fighting Squirrels and General is getting ready to take the court here tonight inside Holekamp Gymnasium as we get ready for the home opener here for the Washington and Lee men's basketball team. We'll step aside for the national anthem, and when we return, we'll have starting lineups and tip-off here inside a Holekamp Gym. Back here inside Holekamp Gym as we get ready to meet the starters for tonight's contest. We start with the Fighting Squirrels of Mary Baldwin. First-year head coach Daniel Eco with the Fighting Squirrels after taking over for Matt Griggs, his assistants Tevin Brown and Jake Hahn. It starts with a 5'8 graduate guard number 0, Jaden Ignacio, a 6-foot graduate student and guard number 5, Quentin Hart, a 6'3 junior guard number 12, Zach Sloan, a 6'2 freshman guard number 20, DJ Vi, and a 6'3 junior forward number 22, Raymond Benton. Mary Baldwin 1-1 to start the season as they look for their second win of the year against the Generals here tonight. As for Washington and Lee, head coach Chris McHugh in his 8th season in charge of his alma mater as he looks to get the Generals off to a 2-1 start. His assistant Isaac Hibbard in his first year with Washington and Lee. It starts with a 6-foot junior guard from Alexandria, number 4, John Laughlin. A 6'4 junior forward from Richmond, Virginia, number 11, Colin Ryan. A first-year guard, 5'11 from Memphis, Tennessee, number 12, Jackson Ransom. A 6-foot sophomore guard from Frederick, Maryland, number 20, Connor Robertson. And rounding out the starting 5 for the Generals, a 6'3 first-year guard from Lincolnton, North Carolina, number 22, Joe Ryan. So both teams coming off wins in their last time out against a Division III opponent, trying to string together a couple of victories here to start the new season. And Shane, as we take a look at tonight's matchup, some keys to victory for both Mary Baldwin and Washington and Lee tonight.
Well, for both teams, it'll definitely be really important to get off to a good start quickly. As I said earlier in the pregame, both teams are going to look to move the ball really fast up the court, so it'll be important on that fast break defense to try to shut down some of those chances. Whoever can come up with the most plays on that side of the ball might find themselves coming away with a victory tonight. For Mary Baldwin, Ignacio, how well he'll play will be a big factor. He can be a little streaky at times, but as I said earlier, a 40-point game already this season, so he can definitely put the ball in the net. And for the Generals, it'll be important for everybody to get involved. They still haven't figured out who their main guy is on the season yet. Maybe that'll emerge tonight, but it'll be a group effort for both sides, but really for the Generals.
So Mary Baldwin in the visiting black uniforms with the white and gold numbers and letters. The white trim to the jerseys. They'll go left to right here in the first half, while Washington Lee, the home white uniforms, the blue numbers and letters, W&L across the front of their chest. They'll go right to left here in the first 20 minutes as we're getting ready to tip off here inside of Holekamp Gym. It'll be Raymond Benton for Mary Baldwin and Colin Ryan for Washington and Lee to get us tipped off here in the home opener for the Washington and Lee men's basketball team in the 2024-25 calendar year. So the Squirrels win the tip, and it's Mary Baldwin with the basketball moving left to right. Generals come out man-to-man defensively, and the shot clock did not start right on time. So they will reset the shot clock down to 22 seconds.
A little technical difficulties early in this one. Everybody getting going for the home opener.
So Ignacio will lead it here for the Fighting Squirrels. Him and Quentin Hart are returning all-conference players for Mary Baldwin last year. Ignacio in the lane, going to toss one up, and it rolls home for Jaden Ignacio.
Ignacio does a good job creating space there. A quick bucket for Mary Baldwin.
Mary Baldwin also comes out man-to-man defensively. Ryan along the perimeter. They take it in the lane. Colin Ryan fades away and hits for 2.
Yeah, both teams getting going early in the paint. We'll be curious to see what the ratio is with paint shots to threes. Both teams like to shoot the 3 ball, but getting going early, trying to get to the cup.
Ignacio kick out here for Hart. A corner 3, left it on the front rim. And Ryan will track down the board. Here comes Robertson in transition. Ryan, a transition 3, nothing but net.
And you can already see right away both teams getting off quickly with their pace. The Generals able to capitalize there with the corner 3.
Sloan picks up his dribble, goes to Benton, top of the key. Ignacio with the switch against Ryan. Hart spins back right. Off the back rim, too strong. Ryan looking for options. He's got Ryan, a deep 3. Left it on the front rim. And Benton clears the glass defensively for Mary Baldwin. Ignacio still orchestrating things here for Mary Baldwin. He shined against the Generals when they played in this building 2 years ago. Had 30 points against Washington and Lee in that game 2 seasons ago. 4 to shoot here for the Fighting Squirrels. Ignacio strip, turnover. Here comes Ransom in transition. One more for Ryan. Reverse layup is good.
An excellent defense there from Ransom. Great on-ball defense all around on that possession for the Generals, and that leads to an easy fast break layup.
That gets the crowd involved here in Holekamp Gym. And DJ Vi will climb him down with a 3. Hart steals it right back, and here come the Fighting Squirrels. Ignacio, no-look pass.
A beautiful pass there from Ignacio. Absolutely just fooled every Generals defender there and able to get that one inside for the layup.
Ryan spinning to his left, and a strong take to the cup for Colin Ryan.
And both teams just not afraid to go right to the hoop, not afraid to put the shots up early. Both teams already almost up to 10 points, not even 4 minutes into this game. A lot of possessions going back and forth.
Another 3 attempted here by Mary Baldwin, but a defensive rebound for Washington and Lee. Robertson straight away. Kick out for Laughlin, and he'll bury one from long range.
And that's Laughlin's specialty. You cannot give him any room on the arc, especially in those corners, and you can see him there making that Mary Baldwin defense pay.
Generals 5 for 6 from the floor here to start. Ignacio lost his footing, nearly the basketball as well. Sloan down low here for Benton, and left that one short. Ryan back cut, Ransom to the cup for 2.
Excellent awareness there from Ransom. Understanding Ignacio, not really paying attention to where he was on the court, and an easy backdoor cut for the layup.
If you're new to watching Washington and Lee men's basketball, this is the type of game they play. Up-tempo, quick shots, trying to score as much as they can. And already 14 points in the first 4.5 minutes. Ignacio looking for a triple, won't find it.
And that up-tempo play comes from the fact they don't have too much height, so they have to get out and score a lot of points here.
Robertson all the way to the basket for 2 more.
This is the perfect start for the Generals, exactly what they could have hoped for. 6 for 7 from the field, and doing a really good job defensively as well, closing down on those Mary Baldwin attackers rather.
Already 10 points in the lane for the Generals. Ransom swats that one away. A run out for W&L. Laughlin catch and shoot 3. He hits it 2. Timeout, Mary Baldwin.
And just a perfect start for the Generals. A little two-man game there, and a kick back to Laughlin for the 3. Absolutely everything the Generals could have hoped for in these first 5 minutes of this game.
It all starts on the defensive end for Ransom swiping that away. Then Laughlin and Ryan trading passes back and forth as the Generals go up a dozen early. Thanks to that 3 from John Laughlin. 19 points in the first 5 minutes and 5 seconds tonight.
And you always have to know where Laughlin is on the court. 2 threes already early in this one, and he looks like he's hot, ready to go. But this Generals offense is playing exactly how they wanted, getting out quick, getting some steals on the defensive end of the floor, and then getting their players up quick on the fast break, finding the open layups, finding the guys on the arc for 3. For Mary Baldwin, they may need to slow it down a little bit because they're playing right into the hand of the Generals. They like to play quick too, but perhaps not this quick. You can see that they're just not able to keep up right now with the Generals, but perhaps this timeout will settle things down for them.
Washington Lee getting it done on the defensive end as well. Already forcing a couple of turnovers, turning those into points. 10 points in the paint, 10 fast break points already for Washington Lee as well. So you talk about transition and working quick. Mary Baldwin will make a couple of changes coming out of the timeout to try and adjust to what the Generals have shown thus far.
Yeah, and those fast break points for the Generals will only continue to go up and up and up. That's where they're really going to find their best looks and their best opportunities on offense.
So Washington Lee also counters with a couple of subs. So too does Mary Baldwin. It's Tucker Shiflett out there with Kurtrell Dixon, Logan Barber, Kevin Weaver Jr., and Roni Hogarth. So a new 5 for Mary Baldwin, and Shiflett is fouled on the way up that time as he'll head to the free throw line. For the Generals, Dakota Gordon, Thomas Fagan, A.J. Thomas, Colin Ryan, and Connor Amorosi. So almost an entirely different set of players on the floor coming out of that timeout.
And for Mary Baldwin here, getting a couple free throws, slowing play down a little bit. A good move there by Shiflett to get himself to the line.
Shiflett hits the first free throw. Tucker Shiflett, the Charlottesville native, playing for the Fighting Squirrels. Last year, got in every game off the bench for Mary Baldwin. Didn't do a whole lot of scoring, but this season, averaging just about 10 minutes per contest. He hits a couple of free throws, and Mary Baldwin shows a little bit of pressure here in the backcourt.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do to try to slow the Generals down, but a good job breaking that down and getting into their half-court offense for the Generals.
Gordon for Amorosi, all the way to the basket, knocked away that time by Hogarth, and Amorosi caught it out of bounds.
Yeah, Amorosi, they're just not really thinking about the play, just grabs the ball and gives it to Mary Baldwin. The Generals would have had possession there since it came off of Mary Baldwin, but just coming into the game not fully checked in yet is Amorosi.
Shiflett will walk it across half court for the Fighting Squirrels. Dixon got a dribble drive on Fagan. He has a cutter in Barber. Underneath the basket, going up strong that time is Weaver Jr. Collects his miss, and the second effort for Kevin Weaver. Ryan dribble handoff, Gordon turns the corner, pulls up at the free throw line, and the first 2 points for Dakota Gordon.
Yeah, really nice dribble handoff there. Gordon just able to find a nice little spot just beyond the free throw line in the paint, and nice little mid-range to send it home.
Seems like Shiflett might have got away with a walk there. Keeps the possession alive for Mary Baldwin. That's Hogarth offline.
Yeah, deep attempt there from Hogarth, not able to find it home, but good transition defense.
Amorosi bumped and also lost his footing as he takes a tumble. That's the first foul of the night against Mary Baldwin.
Since that timeout, Mary Baldwin's doing a better job of getting back, not allowing the Generals to get out quickly on the break, but committing the foul there as Amorosi tried to get to the cup.
Connor Robertson re-enters for Colin Ryan. Generals lead by 10 here in the early going, 21-11. Amorosi gets an ISO all the way to the basket and foul on the way up, and that's 2 quick fouls on Roni Hogarth.
And Hogarth coming in off the bench as well in this game. You got to think maybe he'll check back out. 2 fouls already 7 minutes into this game.
So the substitution waiting to check in will be Zach Sloan, but Amorosi heads to the free throw line. Missed the season opener for Washington and Lee, but was their leading scorer in their only win of the season. 25 points for the first year from Arlington, including a 9 of 11 mark at the free throw line in that game against Immaculata on Saturday.
Yeah, great game for him against Immaculata. Big expectations, though, after that one, putting up 25 points. He's able to hit the second one there, but missed the first.
So the Generals extending their man-to-man defense into the backcourt. Sloan off here for Logan Barber. Hogarth. Checked out, that was Dixon. Offensive board keeps the possession alive. And the Generals collect another Fighting Squirrels miss.
And Mary Baldwin not afraid to let it fly, but the three's just not falling at the moment.
Gordon for Amorosi. Extra pass, Thomas, and let him too far in front.
And sometimes the quick pace can even beat yourself. Just trying to play a little too quick there was Amorosi, getting the ball out to Thomas. Turnover for the Generals.
Couple of subs here for the Generals. John Laughlin and Colin Ryan enter. Dakota Gordon and Connor Amorosi cycle off. Shiflett for Barber. Around the screen, Barber, kick out, Sloan, open triple, off the mark. Comes right back to him, the floater in the lane, that won't go either.
There's a lid over the basket right now from Mary Baldwin, just unable to hit some of these shots.
Robertson blocked at the rim that time by Sloan. Transition the other way, and the Squirrels can't make the layup. That one hits the top of the backboard, and since that's out of play, it'll be Washington and Lee basketball.
And for Mary Baldwin, just nothing falling right now. An excellent block on the defensive end. Able to get out quick there was Shiflett and just did not put enough on that layup. Struggling to find the basket now are the Squirrels.
Laughlin for the cutting Ryan underneath the basket. Turns back left. And 8 early points for Colin Ryan in the first half.
He's getting going early underneath the hoop. An excellent pass in there from Laughlin, and a good spin move to free some space for that layup, did Ryan.
Shiflett, one more pass here for Barber. He goes baseline, looking for the cutter in the lane. Extra pass, Dixon, corner three, and just the second made triple of the night for Mary Baldwin after a 1 for 8 start from long range.
And maybe that one will get him unlocked a little bit.
Thomas rips down the offensive board. Laughlin back for Ryan. He'll get the return feed. Pump fake the defender. Second effort. And that one won't go for John Laughlin.
And that time, more tight defense being played on Laughlin, understanding his shooting ability and unable to hit the shot there.
Dixon stops, pops, and hits.
Nice little pull up there right outside the paint for Dixon. Trying to get Mary Baldwin back into this one, only down now by 8.
Robertson, the spin move with the right, and the friendly roll. Timeout, Washington and Lee.
A little friendly roll there for Robertson off the glass. That one sitting right on the rim and just slides into the net. Generals up to a 10-point lead already. 10 minutes in this first half.
Washington Lee 11 of 16 from the floor here in the first half. Generals had 19 points in the first 5:05, and then now in the next 5 minutes, just 7 points to show for it. It's not for a lack of bad shooting. It's just things have gotten a little tighter defensively for Mary Baldwin. But that frantic start for Washington Lee was all that they really needed to have this 10-point cushion.
Yeah, and the scoring in the paint right now definitely in favor of the Generals. They have as many points as the Flying Squirrels do total just from shots inside the paint, 16-6 leading that category. Certainly assisting the Generals in this one, getting a lot of good looks at the cup, and those are always the best shots that you want to get.
Jackson Ransom, Joe Ryan, and Connor Amorosi back in for Washington and Lee. Jaden Ignacio, Quentin Hart, all three enter for Mary Baldwin. Ignacio, the turnaround. And that one rattles out. Last touch that time by the Fighting Squirrels. As Sloan. And since there was a change of possession, say the shot clock will be put to 28 instead of 25. Ransom against his half-court trap from the Fighting Squirrels. The Generals break it easily. Ryan in the corner. Extra pass, and it bounces through the hands. And stolen back by Quentin Hart. Pull up in the lane, no good for Zach Sloan. Another empty trip offensively.
And Sloan struggling right now, 0 for 6 from the field. And I think for the Squirrels, maybe trying to get somebody else going as he's not really hitting his shots at the moment.
Amorosi. And he'll hit him with the travel. That pivot foot did slide out a little bit underneath. So with 9:24 left here in the first half, Washington in lead, leading Mary Baldwin 26-16. Quick shot and a friendly roll for Zach Sloan as he gets his first field goal of the night.
Yeah, still going with Sloan and able to knock that one down there, so maybe he'll get going offensively. As I said before, 0 for 6 before that, 1 for 7 now.
Ransom, dribble drive to the left, gets in the lane. The runner with the right hand for 2.
And the Mary Baldwin defense there just giving that shot up a little bit too easily.
And Ransom reaching in on Ignacio that time will pick up the personal. First foul against Jackson Ransom, just the second against the Generals here in the first half. Thomas Fagan back in for John Laughlin for Washington and Lee. Jaden Ignacio for Mary Baldwin, just 1 of 3 to start for their leading scorer. Seems like the Generals have keyed in on not getting him many good looks. Ignacio looking for any separation, won't find it. Sloan tries his luck again from distance and only catches the back iron. Ryan had it poked loose. Loose ball on the ground and a tie-up. And the possession arrow favors Washington and Lee.
And the work Ransom right now is doing on Ignacio, just staying in front, not allowing him to beat him with some of those hesitation moves. Ignacio likes to play slow. Does a good job of getting his own space to create shots, but Ransom not allowing any space to be created.
Couple of subs for Mary Baldwin. Back in comes DJ Vi and Raymond Benton. Connor Robertson comes in for Jackson Ransom. Robertson and the Generals will take their time here to get set up. Amorosi, too much for Ryan. Last off the Fighting Squirrels. But just 6 seconds to shoot here for the Generals.
Yeah, fortunate bounce there. A little miscommunication on offense. Not really exactly where the teammates thought they would be, but Mary Baldwin unable to corral that ball.
So there's just 6 seconds to shoot and a side out of bounds play here for the Generals. Robertson throws it right into the hands of Hart. Sloan for Hart, and he was standing along the baseline out of bounds.
Yeah, just another unforced mistake there, not understanding where you are on the court. Moved to put his left foot back as he tried to drive to the cup and steps right out of bounds.
So they'll bring John Laughlin back in as Joe Ryan takes a seat.
And the Generals bench already quite active. Subs almost on every ball going out of bounds. To be a factor for your team when you play so quickly, a lot of fatigue can build.
Fighting Squirrels try and trap there defensively. The Generals swinging around for A.J. Thomas. His corner 3 won't drop.
And the Fighting Squirrels right now, after those 2 early Laughlin threes, not allowing him to get any room, double teaming on that play and leading to the Thomas miss.
Ignacio can't hit the turnaround. Robertson trying to go end-to-end, high off the window. No, Thomas offensive rebound. Stripped on the way up.
Ignacio there didn't know if he could dribble. Asked the referee if he already used his dribble.
And so as they gather off the loose ball, it doesn't count as using his dribble. Was asking for clarification. Sloan to the basket with the right hand, and that drops for Zach Sloan.
And Sloan a lot of shots early, trying to get going offensively. His second make of the game, starting to heat up a little bit. Had that 3 a couple possessions ago.
Ryan, backdoor cut, Laughlin underneath the basket. And just not really sure where he was there underneath the hoop. Offensive board, put back, not there for Raymond Benton. Robertson, the step back 3. Left it short. Breakout for Hart in transition. And Mary Baldwin bench looking for a foul. Robertson tried to reach in. Fagan pulls up from long range and cashes it home.
A deep three there from Fagan. As you said, Mary Baldwin thought that was a foul. It looked like it was clean from Robertson, all ball on the other end, and then Fagan pulling up from deep, knocking home the three to put the lead back up to 10.
Hart around a double screen. Ignacio with 10 to shoot. He'll pull up. Long rebound comes right back to the Fighting Squirrels, and that's Raymond Benton.
And offensive rebounds already a big factor. You can see the size for the Generals not really helping them out right now. That's 6 offensive boards already for the Fighting Squirrels.
Robertson, the turnaround. Rolls out. Mary Baldwin clears the defensive glass. A miss in the lane that time by the Fighting Squirrels.
And Sloan on the offensive end still struggling a little bit to get that basket uncorked. 2 for 9 now from the field, and still going to him offensively, still trusting in him.
So that'll take us to the media timeout. Our score 31-23 with 5 minutes left to play in the first half on the Washington Lee Sports Network. Five minutes left to play in the first half. Washington and Lee 31 and Mary Baldwin 23 here on the Washington and Lee Sports Network. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you. And Shane, it's been an eventful first 15 minutes here tonight in the Generals' 7-8 point lead.
Yeah, exactly what we thought we would get coming into this one. Fast-paced, back and forth basketball. Both teams 28 possessions each in this game, just flying on both ends of the floor, and a lot of points put up.
Ransom, the inbounder, just has to loft it in, trying to get it to Alex Finney, and last touch off Finney. So Alex Finney in for the first time tonight for the Generals.
Couple of miscues for the Generals now off some of those inbounds plays. Mary Baldwin doing a good job of not allowing to get the ball in, and a couple turnovers forced for the Fighting Squirrels.
7 turnovers in the first half for Washington and Lee. Ryan able to get his hands on that one, breaking it up, but it will stay with Mary Baldwin. So Shiflett to inbound in front of the Generals bench. Comes in for Kurtrell Dixon. Barber back to Dixon, a wing three, too strong. And Ransom overthrows Ryan, trying to get to the corner.
And for Mary Baldwin, after that three-point attempt, just 3 for 13 from beyond the arc in this first half. Definitely not finding the success that they would have hoped so far in this one, but they're going to stick to it seems, and try to get that ball uncorked.
Ransom pressuring in the backcourt, making Shiflett work for it as he gets it across half court. Elevator screen here for Vi. 8 to shoot for the Fighting Squirrels. A contested three. No good, and a foul on the rebound against Logan Barber.
And that was textbook defense that time from the Generals, not allowing a pass to get inside the three-point arc. Fighting Squirrels trying to find a way forward, just passing it around the arc, and forced to put up a not ideal shot there and committing the foul on the loose ball.
Back comes in Ignacio, Hart, and Sloan for Mary Baldwin. The Generals still leading by 8 with 4 minutes left here before halftime. Washington in lead, just 1 for their last 6. Ryan in the lane, and too many steps that time for Joe Ryan.
A little bit of struggle is starting to build for the Generals on offense when they get put into that half-court set. Not as prolific of team. We saw in the first 5 minutes or so, most of their points coming out from the fast break. Got off to a really quick start, but since then, it's been a little bit more even on both sides. Both teams scoring just about as much as each other. Still the 8-point lead, though, for the Generals.
Hart down low. That's Sloan on the turnaround. And Zach Sloan has 7 points for Mary Baldwin. Gordon trying to get it to the corner for Amorosi, and another turnover by the Generals. Hart breaking out the other way. Stops on a dime. Finds the cutter. And finishing through traffic is Sloan.
And the defensive effort right now for the Fighting Squirrels, really getting them back into this one, forcing a lot of turnovers, 9 already, leading that category 9-3. So stealing a lot of extra possessions, starting to fight their way back into this game.
Ryan looking for a cutter. Amorosi stripped. The Squirrels try to push the pace. Ignacio walks into a 3. Offensive rebound, extra pass, Hart. And that one won't fall either. Every time Mary Baldwin has a shot to bring this back to a one-possession game, they've just not found it. Amorosi, and another travel that time as he was just stumbling his way through the lane.
Just so many unforced errors now coming for the Generals. And really good, really active hands by this Mary Baldwin defense, forcing Generals players into some tough decisions and forcing travels like that we've seen. The third, I believe, travel already called in this first half against Washington and Lee.
Almost a full sail change for the Generals. Everyone but Colin Ryan checks out as Robertson, Thomas, Laughlin, and Fagan all re-enter. Sloan, too strong. Offensive rebound and 2 points for Raymond Benton.
As I said earlier, the offensive rebounds right now killing the Generals.
And Laughlin resets and hits a 3 in transition. And Coach McHugh will use a timeout.
I think a good timeout by Coach McHugh. Really big transition 3 there, hit by Laughlin, but before that, the Squirrels going on a little run there. 6 or 7 points unanswered. The Generals struggling to find some passes and execute a fluid offense, and defensively just getting just absolutely demolished right now on the defensive glass. Too many offensive rebounds for the Fighting Squirrels, giving them too many second chance points.
8 second chance points for Mary Baldwin, none for Washington and Lee. The Generals had an early advantage in the paint, 10-0, and is now 18-16 still in favor of Washington and Lee. Their biggest offense of a discrepancy has come on fast break points. The Generals 16-4 in fast break points here in the first half as they have a 5-point lead with under 2 minutes left before halftime. For Mary Baldwin, the outside shot still not falling, just 3 of 16 from the perimeter, but being a lot more aggressive of getting to the hoop and being in position to get offensive rebounds. They have 9 offensive rebounds to just 2 allowed to the Generals.
And if some of those threes start falling for Mary Baldwin, which they likely will as the team starts to get into the flow of the game and start to feel their shot fall, they would have a lead probably right now if they just made a couple more threes. So the Generals need to be aware of that and need to do a better job offensively on their own end, keeping control of the ball, and then on the defensive side, crashing to the glass and not allowing those Mary Baldwin players to crash the glass and steal extra possessions.
After the Washington and Lee timeout, Mary Baldwin ball after the made basket as Ignacio brings it up the floor from left to right. Quentin Hart still looking for his first points of the night. We'll dish it off here for Sloan. And there's the three that we just talked about, Shane, for Mary Baldwin, and it's back to a 2-point game. Laughlin, Fagan, one more for Robertson. Ryan backing his way in. Turnaround in the lane. And the first miss of the night for Colin Ryan.
And Ryan was looking to kick that one back out, but really didn't have a teammate forced to post up on that shot, unable to put it home. Chance now for the Squirrels to tie or take the lead.
Ignacio now for Sloan. His free throw line jumper. No, but an offensive rebound. Hart, the gather step in the lane. Back out Sloan. A triple to take the lead. And that's off the mark.
As you said earlier, Ryan, still unable to tie or take the lead in these one-possession moments are the Fighting Squirrels.
Thomas from NBA range.
And each time the Generals seem to come down and get another bucket to build that cushion back up to 5.
Hart with the answer, no. And the Generals can slow it down here. Just about a 2-second differential between shot and game clock to close out the first half. Robertson waiting for the call from Coach McHugh. He's got 10 to shoot. Ryan gets to the lane. Too strong on the layup. Mary Baldwin with one last chance before the horn, and they'll lay it in at the buzzer.
A really heads-up play there by Hart on the far side, understanding that there's not a lot of time left on the clock, but no Generals defenders back on the break, able to sprint up the far side and just put a nice little layup in to beat the buzzer.
You see it right there. Very clearly gets it off and almost drops all the way in before the clock strikes 0. And Washington and Lee will have a 3-point lead at halftime against Mary Baldwin. 37-34 our score after 20 minutes. Shane and I will step aside when we return. First half stats get you ready for the second half between Washington and Lee and Mary Baldwin here on the Washington and Lee Sports Network.
Student success goes far beyond grades. Yes, students want to come and they want to achieve in their classrooms, but they also want to learn all of those things that are going to stay with them for the rest of their lives.
I would say the majority of Washington and Lee students are, in addition to taking their classes, also at least part of 3 or 4 clubs.
When I got to this campus, I would have described myself as this really shy person who, yes, did theater and could perform on stage, but couldn't talk to people one-on-one. Now I'm the social chair of 3 different organizations on campus. Really, the transformation is just completely crazy.
While academics is first and we are student athletes, the professors here at W&L also want you to succeed in your athletic commitments. And so being able to work with the professors so you're able to get everything that you want out of your athletic commitments while also being academically successful as well.
I'm in a fraternity. It's been a really good opportunity, and I've grown really close with the guys who joined at the same time as me. Being around them, them being some of my best friends, has really just allowed me to grow as though we were a family together.
Of my really close friends, I would say that at least 2, if not 3 of them, I've met through the theater department. We get a lot of students who come in and do the shows, and so having friends that aren't necessarily theater majors but love to do the theater shows here makes it really special.
I sing in the Grace Episcopal Choir, where I've gotten to meet a number of people within the Lexington community, which has just been a super cool experience because Washington and Lee is so connected to Lexington, and so getting to be on both sides of it has just been an amazing experience.
Rockbridge is this beautiful rural setting. The campus kind of bleeds right into the rural areas with the back campus farm and things like that. And so students are often out and about taking advantage of our back campus forest, the farm, and then getting out into some of the forested areas.
Lexington comes alive during spring term. The outing club becomes really active, doing hiking trails through the mountains. You could float down the Maury, which is a river that runs through Lexington itself. It's a really great time to be in this part of the country.
We want students to feel good about what they're doing and how they're growing and how they are becoming the people they want to be. That's student success at W&L.
Batman or Superman?
Definitely Batman. I feel for how strong Superman is, that everyone he fights somehow has kryptonite. It's a pretty big thing. You can't overlook that. And I feel like with prep time, Batman easily beats him with all his gadgets and gizmos.
I'm gonna have to go Superman just in terms of who I'd rather be, because when you think about it, Batman is just a regular guy who's like pretty good at MMA, and he's kind of just, you know, getting his beat every night, to be honest. So like, I wouldn't really want to do that. I'd rather be Superman. Just have everything come easy to me. You know, I think that'd be great. Have super speed, super strength. So I'd definitely have to go Superman on that one.
For me, it's got to be Batman. I just think about it, you know, Superman, born with his gifts. Batman, on the other hand, just a regular guy, kind of like myself, you know. Made it all the way to Division III college basketball. Had to work for it with nothing but my tools, my fighting ability. Superman, on the other hand, you know, had a lot handed to him, being a Kryptonian and all.
You know, I'm going with Batman. I'd say Batman just because, you know, like the things that are presented in Gotham, you know, not a lot of places have that. So I just think the way that Batman can hold it down in Gotham like that, you know, it's pretty different. And, you know, he's got a good thing going there with taking control when things are going bad. So I go Batman for sure.
I'm gonna go with Batman. I just like his whole vibe, like the Batcave and like Alfred I really like, and he's very put together and classy, which I can resonate with.
Probably Batman, just because he's got more aura.
Batman. I think Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises are two pretty good movies, so I'll go with Batman.
I would say Superman because he's indestructible.
I'd probably go Batman just because like he doesn't have any powers. He's just like kind of cool.
I'll go Batman just because he's original, doesn't have any superpowers.
Just makes it happen.
He's a dog.
Batman because he fights criminals with grit.
Batman because I like the meme where it's like the Batman suit. It's like looking at it, and you're just like ready.
Superman. He just has all the superpowers. Batman doesn't have any of them, so.
I'm gonna go with Batman. I just think he looks cool.
I'm gonna go Batman. I think Batman came from a humbler beginning.
I'm gonna have to go with Batman. Yeah. Reason why, I guess, just he has no superpowers. I feel like that's cool. Yeah, he's able to get it done without that.
For the love of the game. That's what it's all about, they say. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team and the schools and communities we represent.
And for the many of us blessed with the strength to compete in sport at the college level, we understand that with what we were given comes a special obligation.
An obligation not merely to work towards a personal best in the classroom or in the sport we love, but rather an obligation to help those who have their own special needs and whose love for the game is no less intense.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. For Special Olympics athletes, victory belongs not only to those who first cross the line, but to all of those who compete and endure.
They are challenged in ways we cannot imagine. They are survivors who test themselves harder and with greater joy than we will ever know.
Since August of 2011, we and others from Division III campus communities have volunteered more than 250,000 hours, time away from the classroom and practice field, reaching across the country to coach and mentor Special Olympics athletes.
And to learn, as we all do, that in giving we receive so much more in return.
Sport ennobles us. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
Be part of it.
Get involved.
You can make a difference.
The students really do come here as leaders, and they continue to build on that through various activities.
Many of our students at W&L take on leadership roles voluntarily and eagerly.
There's also really quiet leaders in the classroom who lead by example, who lead just by being kind, and people want to follow them.
W&L has a type of student very driven, It seems like everybody here finds a leadership position pretty quickly. I wound up in charge of the peer counseling program, student worship band, and my a cappella group.
I do a lot of work with first-year students. When first-year students come and they want to do theater for the first time, I definitely try to introduce them to not only theater professors, but other upperclassmen theater students, so that when they show up to an audition, you can kind of pump them up, calm them down, get them really excited.
As a senior on the team this year, I view my role as passing forward that fantastic experience I had, being able to be a resource for the new first-year class that we brought in.
They're leaders in the community. They get involved in lots of different initiatives.
Not only do they like giving back to the community, they actually see the fruits of their labor while they're here.
One class that I took that had an emphasis on community-based learning was a food for thought, neuroscience, and nutrition class. We made videos to walk kids through food groups and nutrition.
I'm a part of the Neighbors Service League. I've mainly served through Campus Kitchen.
Campus Kitchen is a really great organization that helps combat food insecurity in the area around here.
We have an engineering course that allows students to study traffic flow in the local Lexington community and to make recommendations. Mock Convention is a moment every 4 years where W&L students create a political nominating convention. It is completely student-run. It is a learning experience for them, and it's something that our entire community takes part in. Students learn to lead in ways that prepare them to succeed long after they graduate from W&L.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. You can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. The Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful in the community. So our student athletes learn what it means to strive for and attain success, but doing it the right way and being good citizens.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, being a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Back here inside Holekamp Gymnasium at halftime of the W&L men's basketball
home opener. Washington and Lee 37, Mary Baldwin 34 after 20 minutes of basketball. Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington and Lee Sports Network as we take a look at some of the first half stats. The Generals just 27 shot attempts, 15 of 27, good enough for almost 56% from the floor. Mary Baldwin had almost 20 more shots than Washington and Lee, 14 of 45 for 31%. Mary Baldwin made just 4 threes in that first half, while Washington and Lee was 6 of 10 from long range. Only 4 total free throw attempts, 2 for either side. With rebounding battle quite close, 22-20 in favor of Washington and Lee, but 10 of those 20 rebounds for Mary Baldwin on the offensive end. But the biggest discrepancy on the score sheet at halftime, turnovers. Washington and Lee had a dozen first-half turnovers to just 3 for the Fighting Squirrels in the first 20 minutes.
And those turnovers leading to a lot of those extra shot attempts that Mary Baldwin was getting, as well as those offensive rebounds. Really, those 2 factors are the story of the game that have kept Mary Baldwin in this one, forcing a lot of those turnovers, active on defense. Good work getting their hands into the passing lanes and then stealing some of the Generals. Also forcing them to play a little quicker sometimes offensively than they want to, forcing some travels, and then on the offensive end, getting to the glass. Really strong effort by them, just beating the Generals players boxing out to the ball, and that's really led to a lot of their extra shots and kept them in this game.
So the Generals led by 9 points from John Laughlin, 8 from Colin Ryan, 4 each for Jackson Ransom and Connor Robertson, and a host of other players with 1 bucket. For Mary Baldwin, a game-high 12 points for Zach Sloan. He's taken 16 shots. He's just 5 of 16 from the floor. Jaden Ignacio held to just 2 points on 1 of 7. And the second leading scorer for the Fighting Squirrels is Raymond Benton, who had 6 points in that first half to go along with 6 rebounds. Colin Ryan leads the Generals with 7 boards to go along with his 8 points.
Yeah, this second half, it'll be about more of the same for Mary Baldwin. They just need to hit some more of their shots, just not super effective, especially from long range. 4 from 19 from there, so definitely not what they were hoping for. If they can start making some shots, though, they'll definitely be able to start to build a lead, as the Generals have struggled to maintain the ball. But for the Generals, that'll definitely be a focal point in this half when they're in their half-court offense. Not speed themselves up. They do like to play fast, but when you're in the half-court offense, playing fast can often be a detriment to your team, and then focusing on that defensive glass will be crucial for the Generals in this second half, especially if Mary Baldwin come out like they did in that first half and attack the glass like they did offensively.
Mary Baldwin led when the game was 2-0, have not led since. Washington and Lee led by as many as 13 in the first half. They have a 3-point lead at the halftime break. It's Fighting Squirrels basketball going right to left, while the Generals will go left to right here in the second half. Same starting lineups for both sides here in the second half. Ignacio, Hart, Sloan, Vi, and Benton for Mary Baldwin, Laughlin, Ryan, Ransom, Robertson, and Ryan, the 5 for the Generals. Hart gets to the free throw line, pulls up and hits.
It'll be interesting to see if the Generals are able to get off to as quick of a start as they did in that first half. A lot of fast break points coming early in that half, but getting going with their half-court offense here.
Laughlin for Amorosi. A 15-foot jumper along the baseline drops for Connor Amorosi.
And already looking better in the half-court offense, getting the shot that they wanted. A wide-open look for Amorosi on the far end and able to put that ball home.
Ignacio around a screen. Comes for Vi. He'll raise and fire, and it won't go for DJ Vi. Laughlin run off the three-point line to the basket instead, and an empty lane for him to go to the hoop.
Yeah, good pump fake there from Laughlin, and then able to get past his defender and unable to recover. There's the Mary Baldwin defense. Good layup for Laughlin.
Ignacio guard closely by Ransom. That 3 not off the line for Zach Sloan, but he gets his own miss. Ignacio pulls the trigger. That won't fall either, and Robertson will grab it for the Generals. Ryan along the baseline, and he's bumped into by Raymond Benton.
Both teams sticking up in their half-court offense. Already a couple of missed shots from behind the arc for the Fighting Squirrels. Still unable to really find their touch from that part of the court. And the Generals, only a couple possessions, but looking good to start this second half.
Ryan gets the inbound for Robertson. One dribble and picks up. Amorosi fighting for position, and he's knocked out of the way that time by Sloan.
And as I say that, Ransom with a not the best idea on that pass there. Forces it right into the hands of the Fighting Squirrels.
Hart, a catch and shoot three. Left it short. Laughlin nearly traveled, gets it to Ransom instead, and trying to walk the tightrope, but out of bounds he steps.
He nearly stepped out of bounds. Similar to we saw what Hart did on that same spot in that first half, beginning the drive, and then unable to keep himself in on the baseline. A couple of turnovers and start the second half for Ransom.
Still a 5-point Washington Lee lead, 41-36. Tucker Shiflett bringing it up for the Fighting Squirrels. Benton on the perimeter, goes to Hart at the logo. That one slips through the hands of Sloan, keeps it in with just 5 to shoot. Shiflett gonna hoist from the corner, and nowhere close. Laughlin left open, and he hits another corner three.
Yeah, and Laughlin just too dangerous to be left open in the corner. We saw him hit a couple in that first half. Hart backing off of him there, and all the room needed for Laughlin to knock that ball down.
4 for 5 from long range for John Laughlin. He's got a game-high 14. Sloan got away with changing his pivot foot that time, and he hits the three on the other end.
Sloan taking the bulk of the Fighting Squirrels shots, up to 3 for 8 from the three-point arc. So starting to heat up a little bit from there.
Trying to keep it in is Amorosi, and he won't do so successfully. Changes for both sides. Thomas, Fagan, and Ryan all in for Washington and Lee. In comes Ignacio, Barber, and Dixon for Mary Baldwin.
Start the second half. We've seen a little bit of the same from both sides. The Generals not getting out as much on the break as they did early in that first half, but both teams getting going in their half-court offenses, and a couple of turnovers on the general side, and still some struggles from the arc for the Fighting Squirrels.
Contested shot that time for Barber, and Thomas boxing out Benton, who picks up the foul on the rebound.
At times, this Mary Baldwin offense has looked a little disconnected. Some ISO ball being played on a few of the possessions, not really getting their other teammates involved, and you saw there really good defense down low by this Washington and Lee team to force an air ball shot.
Dakota Gordon re-enters for the Generals as he replaces Jackson Ransom. Ryan, left block, spinning in the lane, has his shot knocked away. Ignacio, kick out Sloan, and another three for Zach Sloan.
Sloan really heating up now, back-to-back threes for him. Up to four makes from beyond the arc today, and it's really been their best offensive weapon. 18 points in this contest.
Ryan kick out Thomas. He'll look for the answer and find it.
And the Generals' three-point shooting has been exactly what they could have hoped for. And this one shooting over 60% now from the arc. Exactly what you want to see if you're a Generals fan.
Dixon picks up his dribble in the lane. Sloan with the heat check. Timeout, Mary Baldwin.
And Sloan back-to-back-to-back threes now. Really their only offense right now for the Fighting Squirrels, but it doesn't really matter. He's knocking down the three-point shot to start this second half and really picking up his team.
So 47-45 our score here with 15:06 left in the second half. That's 21 points now for Zach Sloan and a career best 23 against Wilson in the season opener. Has really stepped into a much bigger role this year for Mary Baldwin. Last year, 9 points, 5 boards, made 18 starts and 28 appearances for the Fighting Squirrels. But this year, really the secondary option to Ignacio to get the year going, and he's had the better night here tonight.
Yeah, Ignacio really been focused by this Generals defense, not allowing him to create space and create his shots, so he's been forced to be a little bit more of a passer tonight. But Sloan picking up the slack, 50% now from the arc, shooting much better than he has already early in this season, and really carrying this Fighting Squirrels team offensively, doing a really nice job knocking down his shots. Struggled a little bit early in the contest, but has really found his groove to start the second half.
He's chipped in 7 rebounds to go with it for Mary Baldwin. That leads the Fighting Squirrels in that category. You mentioned Ignacio, more of a passer, a team best 4 assists tonight. Colin Ryan for the Generals, 8 points in the first half, still hasn't scored in here in the second, but 9 rebounds and a team best 4 assists. It's been John Laughlin who has led the Generals in scoring, 14 points on 4 of 5 from long range. And Washington Lee has a team 8 for 12 from beyond the arc here tonight.
The Generals really doing a good job of picking their spots, picking their chances to shoot the 3 ball. Not really any bad shot attempts from beyond the arc. As you said, 8 for 12. Really couldn't ask for much more on the Generals side, but the Squirrels doing a really good job of getting extra possessions and a lot of extra shots. It's keeping them in this game despite the Generals' stellar shooting.
So some pressure here from the Fighting Squirrels out of the timeout. Washington Lee tries to break it, and they turn it over. Sloan this time going to go downhill to the basket, and Zach Sloan cannot be stopped.
Pretty sure that's 11 straight points for Sloan for the Fighting Squirrels, so almost exclusively their offensive option in this second half, but it hasn't seemed to matter. The Generals unable to stop him.
And Mary Baldwin's tied this game at 47. First time it was tied since it was 2-2. Dakota Gordon looking for a triple, won't get it. So Mary Baldwin having a chance to take the lead for the first time since it was 2-0. Leaves it off that time to Sloan, and Raymond Benton puts the Fighting Squirrels in front.
And a really excellent decision there by Sloan, driving to the lane, knowing that the Generals defenders are going to come down and clamp on him, leaving this teammate wide open for the layup.
Thomas pulls the trigger from deep, and it rattles out. Ignacio, kick out for Dixon. Offensive rebound, Benton, the putback, no. And a foul going to go against Thomas. Dixon had great position.
His offensive rebound still proving to be a factor. The Generals unable to get bodies in position to box out. Mary Baldwin doing a really good job of crashing in, beating their man on the box out, and stealing these extra possessions.
4 subs for the Generals. Laughlin, Robertson, Ransom, and Ryan all back in. And that becomes the media timeout. With 49-47 our score. Mary Baldwin has jumped in front for the first time since it was 2-0 here in the second half on the Washington Lee Sports Network. (49-47), 13:50 left here in the second half. Here inside Holekamp Gym, Ryan Connell and Shane Riley with you on the Washington Lee Sports Network. Mary Baldwin leading for the first time tonight since it was 2-0. They scored the first basket in the first half. The Generals led by as many as 13 halfway through that first half. Mary Baldwin on the midst of a 7-0 run. Has jumped in front. A lot of that on the back of Zach Sloan. He's had 11 of the last 13 for Mary Baldwin. Trying to get it in on the Squirrels, and they do so just before the 5-second call. Ignacio off for Sloan. Sloan straightaway three, and he is on fire here in the second half. And that's a career high 26.
And the closeouts on Sloan right now are just not coming quick enough. Robertson there on him and didn't really get a hand in his face. Enough room and wide open for the three.
A foul that time against Dixon as Ransom tried to turn the corner.
And Ransom got a little bit of a wraparound with his hand there. The official's going to give the call the other way, but probably could have been an offensive foul against the Generals there.
Ryan steps through in the lane and drops it in for two more.
It's a big bucket there for the Generals to stop that run of 10 straight points by the Fighting Squirrels. Going to need to come up with a big defensive possession here, though. They probably know where the ball's going to Sloan.
Sloan, NBA range, and an air ball this time.
And as I called it, a heat check there for Sloan, a deep shot. We saw Thomas hit one from about that spot in the first half, but Sloan unable to keep his streak going. First miss from beyond the arc in the second half.
Generals down by 3. Colin Ryan off for John Laughlin. Comes to Ryan along the baseline. Finds the cutter and Laughlin. It goes right through his hands, hits him in the chest, and bounces out of play.
And that one took a deflection off a Mary Baldwin defender, but then right into Laughlin's face. It's an unfortunate bounce there. And another turnover by this Generals team.
Washington and Lee opting for a little 2-3 zone defensively. Trying to throw the Fighting Squirrels a different look. Sloan out for Hart. Sloan in the lane. How about two more?
And Ransom on that drive got completely beat. Robertson coming up on the help, but just not enough height there against Sloan, and Sloan puts that ball right up over his head.
The Generals again trail by 5 with 12 minutes left in the second half. Game high 26, I should say 28 points for Zach Sloan, as Robertson out of control on his way to the basket. Sloan passed up to 3 that time. He'll skip it for Ignacio, and Jaden Ignacio extends Mary Baldwin's lead.
And the defensive effort right now for Mary Baldwin contributing directly to offense. And Sloan there, unselfish play, cross-court pass, and finds his teammate Ignacio.
Thomas looking to answer, won't do it. And a foul underneath the basket. A couple of players collided with each other. And a foul is going to go against Quentin Hart of Mary Baldwin.
For the Generals right now. A basket almost a necessity here, trying to keep this game in hand. The Mary Baldwin offense definitely figured something out coming out of halftime. Then prolific from beyond the arc. Tale of two halves, though. Not really the case in the first half, but finding their touch in this second half.
Fagan off the inbounds. This is the 3. So the Fighting Squirrels are in the midst of an extended 21-5 run here over the last nearly 6 minutes. A leapfrog all the way in front by 8. Ignacio trying to add to it. He can't. And the Generals do come away with the defensive board.
Still a good look there by Mary Baldwin. Able to find the open look. Just unable to knock it down there is Ignacio.
Amorosi working baseline. Spinning left, staying with his pivot foot, and laying it in for 2 points.
Really good post move there from Amorosi. Little pump fake on the layup. Able to find a wide open shot inside the paint to bring the Generals back within 6.
Ignacio across for Hart. Trying to drop it down low, and Joe Ryan there to pick it off. Laughlin bumped into by Sloan as he got caught up high.
A rare mistake there offensively by the Fighting Squirrels. Just their 4th turnover of this game, leading that category 4-16. So definitely the story of this game has been their ability to control the ball and the Generals' inability to find some of their passes and maintain possession.
And a timeout here. Well, as Washington and Lee wants to talk it over, see what the Generals call, and they will stretch it to a full timeout. So with Washington and Lee down 6 with 10:18 left here in the second half, Coach McHugh will talk it over with his squad. For the Generals, let's say things have gone cold here offensively. They're still 6 of 13 from the floor. Well, Mary Baldwin, 5 made threes in the second half, outscoring the Generals by 9, and that's why they're in front by 6.
Yeah, the Generals' defensive effort not really been up to par with what Coach McHugh probably was hoping for them. Just a lot of open shots, and of course Sloan catching fire in this second half, knocking down a lot of threes, and understanding that since he's hit a lot of those threes, that a lot of his teammates will also be open and able to find a couple of them. We saw earlier that that cross-court pass to Ignacio for his 3. So the offensive game for the Fighting Squirrels just really opened up in this second half, and it's allowed them to build this 6-point lead.
A career-high 28 points tonight for Zach Sloan, the 6'3 junior from Bunn, North Carolina. At 23 points in the season opener, 17 against Maine Maritime in the second game of the season, and now 28 here tonight on 11 of 24 from the floor, including 6 of 12 from beyond the arc. He's added 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals. And he's a big reason why Mary Baldwin is in front here in the second half.
And he's been not afraid to take the shot, which the first half was a little shaky, not able to find a certain groove there, but in the second half he's really come into his own, and especially as we talked about earlier with Ignacio, struggling a little bit offensively to find his shot. It's been big that Sloan's been able to find his in this second half.
So the Generals inbound in front of their own bench. Trailing by 6. Amorosi down low, spinning back left. Too strong, gets his own miss. Second effort, and it won't roll home. But Connor Amorosi will go to the free throw line. First free throw attempts of the second half come halfway through the second half.
Yeah, defensively it's been a rather clean game. A few fouls, but not really a lot of shooting fouls, as you said, Ryan. And just the first free throws of this second half, but Amorosi doing a really good job getting position in the paint there and earning the foul.
Amorosi gets the first to roll home. He's the only Washington Elite player that's made a trip to the free throw line tonight. Now 2 of 3 at the line is Connor Amorosi. For Mary Baldwin, just 2 of 2 at the line. So very few free throws here this evening so far. And Amorosi has a chance to bring this back to a 4-point game, and he does. The Generals again showing a little 2-3 zone. This is Sloan on the pull-up, and this time he won't connect. Ryan out for Fagan in transition, left it short. And Dixon controlling the defensive glass for Mary Baldwin. Hart right back to Ignacio, passed up the shot. Goes back to Hart. A floater in the lane. Right back to him. Second effort gets Fagan in the air, and he will earn a trip to the line.
And right now, Mary Baldwin finding their way through this zone defense, cutting right through, and then getting a nice look. Earning the foul does Hart. First free throws in the second half for the Fighting Squirrels.
Or what, 4 of 5 on the year at the line, making 4 of 6 after that one. Benton and Hogarth return. Off goes Sloan. And Weaver for Mary Baldwin.
Sloan out. It'll be interesting to see who takes the offensive responsibility for the Fighting Squirrels. He's been their go-to guy these first 10 minutes of this second half.
1 of 2 at the line that time. goes Hart, and it's a 5-point game, 58-53. Amorosi gonna bully his way against Hogarth. The fadeaway along the baseline. An air ball, Ransom after it, and the Generals call a timeout after falling on it.
Really good hustle play there by Ransom to get to that ball and protect it, not allow a Mary Baldwin player to get to it, and then Coach McHugh, quick timeout call there to win a possession.
Leaves the Generals with just 2 timeouts left for the final 9:06. Trailing by 5. You want to keep as many possessions as you can. Washington and Lee, only 2 players in double figures offensively. John Laughlin with 14, Colin Ryan with 10. He picked up his 10th rebound not too long ago to give him a double-double. Other than that, offensively, Connor Amorosi next to his 7 points for the Generals. It's been very spread out so far tonight, and after putting up 19 points in the first 5 minutes in the first half, it's been a little bit harder to come by for Washington and Lee.
And Mary Baldwin was doing a good job adjusting to the speed of the Generals team and not allowing them to get out on the fast break, which is how they got most of their points early in this game. But as you said, it's really been a group effort offensively. The Generals still trying to find their identity, find their go-to guy on the offensive end.
They find Colin Ryan on a cut to the basket and a quick 2 out of the timeout. Ignacio controlling the show here for Mary Baldwin. Swing it for Hart. A wing 3 off the top of the backboard and out of play.
Second time tonight we've seen that ball go up on the top of the backboard. A couple high bouncing shots, but still some struggles for the rest of this Mary Baldwin team from behind the arc. Only 2 3-pointers made, not to the name of Sloan.
Ransom, the drive to his right, fire it across, and reading that well was Benton. Breakout for Hart, and a tough finish for Quentin Hart.
And Ransom on that pass. 2 targets that ball really could have gotten to, none of them looking at the ball, and once again, just another turnover leading to a easy bucket on the other end for the Fighting Squirrels.
Colin Ryan, work against Benton. High off the window, no. Tip for the rebound. Laughlin away with it. Finds Amorosi on the block. And second chance points for the Generals.
And Laughlin just sticking to it on that play, tipping that ball up in the air a few times. Fortunate bounce, able to come down with it, and good vision to find Amorosi for the layup.
Ignacio, nowhere to go in the lane. Left it short. He comes away with his own miss. Hart's bumped into on the perimeter. And that'll go against Jackson Ransom. 3rd foul for the Generals. 2nd against Ransom.
For Mary Baldwin bringing Sloan back in. A couple of offensive possessions without him on the court. Some struggles to get a good shot there. Ignacio able to get to the lane. Missed a shot, gets his own board though. Still dominating the offensive glass with the Fighting Squirrels.
Joe Ryan and Connor Robertson both in for the Generals. Another open look for 3, and this time Sloan has it roll out, and a foul against Mary Baldwin. It'll be the 17th foul against the Squirrels, which means Washington Lee is in the bonus. So 1-and-1 free throws coming here for Connor Amorosi.
And with 7 minutes to go in this game, that could be a huge factor already in the bonus. Chance to get some free points the rest of the way.
Amorosi hits the first. That brings him into double figures with 10 points, joining Laughlin and Ryan as the 3 Generals players with at least 10 points here tonight. Hits them both, and it's back to a 1-point game, 60-59 with 7:18 to play.
So after that early run from the Fighting Squirrels, the Generals have done a much better job on the defensive end, closing out on the shooters, still giving up some offensive rebounds, but clawing their way back to a 1-point deficit.
Sloan in the lane, and the friendly roll. That's 30 points on the night for Zach Sloan. Ryan overthrows Amorosi, and a foul coming against Ignacio, holding Amorosi, cutting to the basket.
And for Ignacio, that's really all he could have done there. Amorosi had the position on him, had him beat on the cut, forced a foul to not give up the free 2 points.
So Amorosi right back to the free throw line where he has been busy tonight. Now 6 of 7 at the line, the only Generals player to attempt free throws tonight.
He's doing his job from the line, as you said. A few free throws in his last couple games, and now already going to be up to 8 tonight.
Hits them both. And once again, a 1-point game. Hart. Now Dixon. Sproles feeding it around the perimeter. Hart, catch and shoot. And he hits a big 3 there for Mary Baldwin.
For Hart, that's his first 3 of the night. 0 for 5 before that shot, but a big shot there. Trying to build the momentum back up for the Fighting Squirrels, up to a 4-point lead.
Robertson steps through, finds Ryan. Run off the 3-point line to Ryan. Right back, Joe Ryan, catch and shoot, and the answer.
Great ball movement there all around the court. And Ryan found himself open. Ignacio trying to close out there, but can't do enough to stop the shot from going in.
Dixon with an air ball. Robertson pushing the pace the other way. Right back for Ryan. How about another? You got it. Back-to-back triples from first-year Joe Ryan. Put Washington Lee back in front, 67-65. Hart, and he's fouled by Ryan. And Quentin Hart earns a trip to the free throw line.
And those shots from Ryan continuing the excellent shooting from beyond the arc. 52%, 10 for 19 from the three-point arc. Are Washington in lead today. Their good shooting certainly kept them in this one with their large amount of turnovers, but efficient shooting will keep you in a game.
First free throw good for Quentin Hart. John Laughlin back in for the Generals. Logan Barber will re-enter for Mary Baldwin. One more for Hart, and he counts them both. All tied at 67, 5.5 minutes left here in the second half. Ryan to the hoop. 8 straight points for Joe Ryan.
And Ryan wanted that ball all the way. He was jumping up and down as the Generals were trying to break down the full court press. And proving his worth there, getting the ball, going right to the cup, getting right past Benton.
Hart to the basket, extra pass, loose on the deck, and the Generals come away with it.
And the energy for the Generals defense has been much better in these last 5 or so minutes in the first 10 minutes to start the second half, doing a much better job closing down on these Mary Baldwin players.
Ransom will pull it out. Gets a cutter and Ryan. Can't hit the layup. Trying to grab his own miss. Has it wrestled away by Barber. Ignacio works it back out. Sloan. One more Barber. And he was out of bounds.
And really the issue for the Fighting Squirrels right now is finding offense from any other player other than Sloan. He scored the majority of their points, not only in this game, but in this second half especially. They're really going to need somebody else on that offensive side to get going. The Generals, on the other end, has been a much more team effort, everybody getting involved offensively.
Washington Lee up 69-67. Amorosi. Tightly guarded that time by Benton. Thomas with 8 to shoot. Loose on the deck, Thomas. And he catches one up high. And Mary Baldwin sideline, infuriated. Thomas got away with throwing a couple of elbows down on the ground as well.
Some aggressive play there from Thomas on the ground. Fortunate not to travel there. Mary Baldwin committing the foul with him on the ground. Not exactly what they were hoping for on that play.
Coach Eco a little tipped off by that one. Thomas to the line for 1-and-1. He misses the first, but Ransom grabs the miss. Laughlin to the hoop. A lot of contact, no call. And then a foul against the Generals.
Yeah, good foul there from the Generals. Laughlin on the ground. It's probably going to be an easy 2 points on the other end with all the Fighting Squirrels players getting up the court. Foul there just to keep things stable and slow things down a little bit on the defensive end.
Weaver comes back in for Mary Baldwin. Colin Ryan for Washington Lee. Tight one-possession game with under 4 minutes to play here in the second half. Mary Baldwin jumped ahead by as many as 8 here in the second half. Now find themselves trailing. Hart trying to change that, and he can't, but a foul underneath. That's going to go against Laughlin, trying to box out.
Yeah, Weaver found some good position in the paint. The height advantage over Laughlin. Laughlin forced to try to make a move, committing the loose ball foul.
6-team foul against Washington. At least the next one will put Mary Baldwin into the bonus. Hart. Back out for Ignacio. Ignacio, the shifty move. Won't get the runner.
Ignacio's just been a little off tonight. He's found himself with some open shots.
A.J. Thomas with the big triple on the other end.
It's really been the story. Generals hitting their open shots. Fighting Squirrels, not exactly the same story. Only shooting 35% from the field compared to the Generals, 51.
Sloan goes high off the window for 2. Timeout, Mary Baldwin. 32 points for Zach Sloan as he's single-handedly kept Mary Baldwin afloat.
Yeah, Zach Sloan doing everything he can out there on the offensive side of the ball. As you said, 32 points, 6 3-pointers in this contest. He's made over half of their 3-pointers, and feels like every possession down the other end of the floor, we know exactly where the ball is going to end up, and at least it's going to end up in his hands once every possession. And he's just doing an excellent job of finding his spots and able to make his shots that he's taken tonight.
So the Squirrels will have 3 timeouts left. The Generals have 2. Washington Lee has the 3-point advantage. With 3:03 left, and Mary Baldwin can try and set up their defense. They forced Washington Lee into 18 turnovers here tonight, and it brought a little bit of pressure from time to time throughout tonight. A little half-court trap. We'll see if that perhaps is the call here coming out of the timeout.
And that's really the story of the game. It's allowed them to have such a low shooting percentage, but being able to stay in the game, getting so many extra shots, so many extra possessions, and then, of course, the offensive glass doubling the Generals' numbers. The Generals are doing a better job on their own offensive glass in this half, but still struggling to box out the Mary Baldwin players on the defensive end of the ball.
So each team breaks the huddle. It's Ignacio out there with Hart, Sloan, Barber, and Benton for Mary Baldwin. Ransom, Ryan, Thomas, Ryan, and Laughlin, the 5 on the floor for the Generals. So Mary Baldwin looks to bring no pressure out of the timeout. Try and settle in the half-court defensively.
And their half-court defense has also forced a lot of turnovers as well.
Ryan picks up his dribble straight away, gives off here for Ransom. Ransom also quick to pick up that dribble. 8 to shoot. Laughlin cutting to the hoop. Won't get the layup to go. Ignacio skip here for Sloan. And now Mary Baldwin try and draw it up offensively. Sloan skip for Ignacio. Hart, straightaway three. You got it.
And Hart finding his shot a little bit more in this second half as well. His second three of the game and in this half.
Ransom tried to take it quick to the rack. Hart was in his way. Tied at 72 with under 2 to play here in the second half. Sloan for Barber. Spins, turns, and hits.
And every possession at this point of the game, just so crucial. Coach McHugh understanding that, trying to call a timeout and calm his players down and try to galvanize them for this final 1.5 minute push.
A 7-0 run for Mary Baldwin has leapfrogged them back in front, 74-72, with 1:39 to play here in the second half.
Yeah, Mary Baldwin doing a much better job defensively than in that last 5 or so minutes. Really been a tale of runs in this second half. First 10 minutes really dominated by the Fighting Squirrels, and then that next 5 minutes the Generals found some of that mojo that they had to start the game, getting a lot of points quickly. But the Squirrels coming back on their own 7-0 run here. Be a tight finish.
Washington at least scoreless over the last 140. They've made one of just their last 5 shots. And for W&L, see who they opt to go to, needing a big bucket. With 1:39 left on the clock, the Generals down to just 1 timeout after Coach McHugh using a full timeout here with under 100 seconds remaining. John Laughlin leads all scorers for the Generals with 14. Connor Ramorosi has 13. Colin Ryan 12. Joe Ryan 11. A.J. Thomas 9. So it's been a little bit of everybody, but you have to think just going to try and get the best look possible close to the rim here, not needing a 3 necessarily, just getting a quality 2.
One of the advantages of having so many options on offense, of course, sometimes when you need a bucket, it can be hard to get that, but at the same time, defensively, they don't really know where the ball is going to go. There's some ambiguity when the games get down to this final moment. Anybody could be taking one of the last shots.
So Thomas Fagan and Connor Amorosi cycle in for the Generals. Out goes Ransom and Thomas. Laughlin will be the one to bring it up the floor. Laughlin in the lane, back to Colin Ryan. And a foul underneath will send the junior captain to the line for free throws. It's the 10th foul against Mary Baldwin, so double bonus here for Washington and Lee.
Not really what the Mary Baldwin defense was hoping for there. Did a good job forcing the shot clock to start winding down, but some unforced contact there right onto Ryan to give him the line.
That sends Colin Ryan to the free throw line, and he makes the first. Ryan just 3 of 6 on the year at the line entering the day. Free throws not his biggest strength over his first 2 years in Lexington. Shot only fraction over 35% the first 2 years, but consistently working on the craft, and 2 big free throws there, ties it at 74.
Yeah, clutch free throws there from Ryan to tie this game up, and now each defensive possession more and more important.
Hart. Now Ignacio. Ignacio to the cup, counting in the foul.
Ignacio's been creating space all night long, struggling to finish some of those layup attempts. Able to do it that time through contact, though. Ryan committing the foul, and a big chance for 3 points here for the Fighting Squirrels.
Ignacio, just that little hesitation, gets the first step and lays it in with the left hand. Has a chance to extend the lead to 3 here at the free throw line.
No matter what, even if he makes this on the other side of the ball, no 3 necessary. Still plenty of time in this game for the Generals.
Ignacio makes the free throw, and Mary Baldwin leads by 3. A minute to play here in the second half, 77-74. Fighting Squirrels in front of the Generals. Laughlin, kick out Fagan. Fagan has to recollect. Got bumped. Offensive rebound, Laughlin. Shot clock didn't reset. Just 7 to shoot. Ryan skip past Amorosi. Put it on the deck, lost a handle on it, and taken back by the Fighting Squirrels.
Yeah, just discombobulated on that offensive possession where the Generals unable to control it. Forced to commit a foul on the other end.
Coach McHugh not happy about fouling, but gotta say, a 3-point game, only a few second differential between shot and game clock. It is not the worst outcome, but it does send Jaden Ignacio to the line, who is Mary Baldwin's best free throw shooter.
Yeah, on the other end for the Generals, just too much unselfish play there. Somebody needed to step up and take the shot, but everybody looking to pass off to the next teammate and forcing the turnover.
Ignacio hits the first. 8th team foul against Washington and Lee, and Mary Baldwin has stretched this to now a 2-possession game. Robertson will come in for Ryan. One more free throw still brewing here for Jaden Ignacio. It has not been his night. Delivers the last now 5 points for Mary Baldwin, all of them to take the lead. And the Squirrels will use one of their final 3 timeouts here with 26.3 seconds left.
And now on the offensive side for the Generals, unlike that last possession, three-pointer probably a necessity with the 5-point deficit. Still go for 2, but then you got to hope for some misses on the other end. But that last possession, if you think about it again, just too much passing. Nobody really stepping up to try to take that shot, and then good defense by Mary Baldwin, and they're able to get out and hit down both of their free throws on the other end.
5 straight points for Jaden Ignacio gets him into double figures. He's got a team best 6 assists tonight as well, but just 3 of 13 from the floor. 5 big points though from him here in the last minute have stretched Mary Baldwin's lead to 2 possessions in a 5-point game. For Colin Ryan, offensively, been the top player for Washington Lee, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists to go with it as well. So a full stat sheet so far tonight for Ryan, but Generals have to perhaps look at a really quick 2 or even start jacking up 3s. They're 11 of 21 from 3-point range here this evening and needing at least 2 buckets to tie or take the lead.
Yeah, their shooting tonight definitely will help them in these final 26 seconds, but it's all about getting a good look. And as you talked about with Ignacio on the other side, despite his poor shooting, he's really done what the Mary Baldwin team needs of him. Doing a good job defensively and hitting down some big free throws as the game winds down.
Robertson brings it up the floor. 20 seconds to play. Washington lead down 5. Amorosi, corner 3. Left it short. Rebound tipped around. Controlled by Ignacio. And he will be fouled as the Fighting Squirrels have free throws to try and ice this game away.
And that possession couldn't have gone any better. The rebound falling right into the hands of their best free throw shooter in Ignacio, who just knocked down the last few. And he'll look to ice the game here with a couple more.
Thomas will replace Amorosi as Ignacio steps back up to the free throw line. Ignacio 1-1 here. That was a 9th team foul against the Generals. And a foul on the rebound by Benton. That will send Colin Ryan to the free throw line.
And again, a really untimely foul by the Fighting Squirrels. Chance for some free points without the clock running down. As you talked about earlier, Ryan, definitely not the most prolific free throw shooter, but he did knock down 2 earlier.
The Generals down 5. They could use some points with the clock stopped. Ryan steps up to the line for the first and only catches the back iron. Amorosi back in, Robertson out.
It's a big miss there. Even he makes this one still a 2-possession game.
And Coach McHugh will use his final timeout. It almost begs the question if it's worth missing intentionally on the second free throw, trying to grab the offensive rebound, because you can either get put back for 2 or kick it out for a quick 3, knowing that you need 5 points. 1 point really doesn't do you a whole lot of good. It still takes this from a 2-possession game to a 2-possession game.
Yeah, those plays are so hard to execute, though. Sometimes you got to get a good bounce off of the rim and then have somebody in position for the board and somebody to kick it out to. It's definitely possible. We've seen it happen before, and it's possibly what Coach McHugh is drawing up on the far side. Also, perhaps a press defense off the inbound if the Generals were to make a shot here. Perhaps try to get a steal and tie this game up or take the lead on the next possession.
Have all your ducks in a row. Well, Washington lead down 5, and one more free throw attempt coming here for Colin Ryan. See what the Generals elect to do, if they try and miss on purpose or try and make the free throw and either get a quick steal or foul and extend this game. But with both Thomas and Amorosi in there for the Generals, they got their shooters in Fagan and Laughlin out on the perimeter. You have to think probably trying to tip this one out as best you can.
The offensive rebound game in this second half has been a little bit better for the Generals side, but they'll need to come up with a big one here if the shot does not go in.
Ryan steps up to the line, and a lane violation that time by Amorosi, and that just will negate the free throw altogether.
Thomas did get to that ball there on the rebound, but Mary Baldwin players kind of stopped playing after that whistle. You got to think if he would have gotten that anyways. But now this full court press really crucial, coming up and trying to get a steal.
Comes in for Ignacio, ran some fouls, and only about a second comes off the clock. More free throws here for Mary Baldwin to try and put this one on ice, and now that they're in the double bonus, this is 2 guaranteed free throws for Jaden Ignacio.
For Ignacio, we're talking about their best shooter. They got the ball into exactly who they wanted. Not really a difficult job doing it either. Generals press, not forcing the steal there.
Ignacio hits the first. Laughlin and Ryan going to come back in. Mary Baldwin will elect to put nobody down for the offensive rebound, not try and take a chance of committing an offensive foul. Ignacio has a chance, though, with this free throw to take it to a 3-possession game with 10 seconds left, and he will.
3 possessions is just too much to overpass for the Generals here. Only 8 seconds left.
Robertson trying to go right to the basket for the quick 2. He'll lay it in. Well, that takes 7 seconds off the clock, and Generals still trail by 5. It comes in for Ignacio. He'll get fouled, and more free throws here for Mary Baldwin. And at this point, it's just a matter of trying to factor into the potential final score.
Decision there by Robertson to go to the cup. Kind of seal the Generals' fate there. Took off too much time to have any chance at coming back at this point. Only 1.8 seconds left on the clock. And as you said, at this point, everything's just stats.
So Ignacio, it's a couple more free throws, and that is where he has found a bulk of his scoring tonight. And Ignacio has a chance to put Mary Baldwin up 7, and he does with 1.8 seconds left. Laughlin will heave it up at the horn. It won't matter. And Mary Baldwin comes to Lexington and beats Washington and Lee for the first time, 83-76, the final, behind a career-high 32 points from Zach Sloan.
Yeah, and it really has been both teams' different strategies in this one. Sloan, as you said, really the main focal point offensively for the Fighting Squirrels, getting the bulk of their scoring and a career-high 33 points. On the General side, there's more a group effort, but when you look at the stats, the turnovers really stand out to you. Generals just turning the ball over way too much, not able to keep possession. They shot so well from the field, but when you can't maintain possession, it's very difficult to win games, especially with the margin that we saw out there tonight. 20 turnovers for the Generals, only 6 for the Fighting Squirrels.
So Washington and Lee suffers a loss in their first home game of this season. 83-76 the final score. Mary Baldwin gets to 2-1 on the season as they come to Lexington and knock off Washington and Lee. Up next for Mary Baldwin, they play their first home game of the season against Christendom on next Tuesday, while Washington and Lee has a full week off before playing at Roanoke next Wednesday.
Yeah, full week for Coach McHugh and this Generals team to figure it out a little bit. The shots definitely were falling, just under 50% on the night, 50% from three. Not too terrible from the line, right around 75%, but again, the offensive rebounds and turnovers absolutely killed the Generals in this game. Just no chance when you have 14 more turnovers than the other team really to pull it out. And towards the end, that really came out to show, and Fighting Squirrels able to pull away in the end with a 7-point victory.
Some statistical leaders from tonight. Zach Sloan, a career-high 32 points for Mary Baldwin. He had 8 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals. Jaden Ignacio finished with 14 points, but he got 7 of them at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Quentin Hart, the only other Mary Baldwin player in double figures with 15 points for the Fighting Squirrels. For Washington Lee, John Laughlin and Colin Ryan each had 14 points to lead the Generals. Ryan had 13 rebounds and 6 assists. Laughlin, 6 rebounds and 4 assists, was 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. Joe Ryan, the first year, 11 points for the Generals on 4 of 5 from the floor. Connor Amorosi, 13 points, 5 rebounds, and A.J. Thomas, the only other player closing in on double digits with 9 points and 4 rebounds. As you mentioned, Shane, Washington lead 20 turnovers to just 6 for Mary Baldwin. The Generals gave up 16 offensive rebounds. They did out-rebound Mary Baldwin, but those second-chance opportunities for the Fighting Squirrels turned into 12 second-chance points, as they also had 23 points off of Washington Lee turnovers. And when you look at the final score, 7 points the difference on the scoreboard, and the final about 7 to 9 points of this game, all scored by Jaden Ignacio when the Fighting Squirrels needed it most.
Yeah, they really came up clutch in the end there with some of those free throws and a lot of good defensive possessions early in the game that they forced a lot of turnovers. In the second half, the Generals started to find their groove as the game winded down, but as we reached those final 2 minutes, just unable to get the shots that they were looking for. A couple turnovers in crunch time, and the Fighting Squirrels came up clutch and made the shots they needed to make.
So our final score here tonight, Mary Baldwin wins it over Washington Lee, the final 83-76. That'll wrap it up tonight here inside of Holekamp Gym as the Fighting Squirrels get to 2-1 with an 83-76 win over Washington Lee. The Generals drop to 1-2 as they fall in their home opener to Mary Baldwin. As for what's next for the Generals, they'll have a week off until their next game. They'll play at Roanoke next Wednesday to kick off conference play, while Mary Baldwin will be at home to have their home opener next Tuesday against Christendom. For Mary Baldwin, a career-high 32 points for Zach Sloan in the win for the Generals. Colin Ryan notched a double-double with 14 points and 13 rebounds, but Washington Lee comes up on the short end of things, 83-76 the final. Thanks for following along all night long on the Washington Lee Sports Network. For my broadcast partner Shane Riley, I'm Ryan Connell. For all of us here at the Washington Lee Sports Network, we say thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. We'll see you for the next Washington Lee home men's basketball game on Monday, December 2nd, when they take on Maryville here inside a Holekamp Gym.